think that's us on 4 o'clock.
Yep, ready to go.
Perfect. Welcome everyone, thank you for attending today's session. Over the next 6 weeks, Eastern Berkshire Council's team of Microsoft innovators and education experts are running a series of these courses. My name is Lisa Antani and I teach digital literacy and computer science at Lenzie Meadow Primary School. My background is software development, that's what I did at university, and I'm back at university again doing a teaching qualification in computer science. And I'm joined this evening with Michaela.
Sorry everyone, my name is Michaela Dixon. I am a Primary 1 teacher at West Cledens Primary School in Bishop Briggs. And sorry, I was trying to hard mute everyone when I was trying to unmute my microphone at the same time. So I'm joined by Lisa today from Lenzie Meadow, and we have been doing a series of training since September, but this is actually a new session, so this is the first time we've ran this one. So thank you for joining us, and I'll hand back over to Lisa.
So just to get us started, how would you currently rate your ability to pre-record lessons? In the chat window, if you could type a number 0 to 5, 0 being you don't really feel that you know what you're doing at all, and 5 being super confident. Got a good mix of responses, everything from 0 through to 5. Perfect. We'll come back to this again at the end of the session, and hopefully your number will be higher than it is now. Okay, first of all, why are we looking at video? Well, the internet has changed how people seek information. Gone are the days where you would look up a book or a text-based website. YouTube seems to be the go-to place now. Videos are a lot more engaging. They're like a sensory experience compared to just a plain printed textbook. Learners get to see and hear the concept being taught, and they can process it the same way they would process their everyday interactions. And the good thing about video is that pupils can watch it whenever they like, and they increase their knowledge retention because they can stop it and replay it as many times as they require. It's just something I personally have found quite useful with the computer science module at uni. Just being able to go back over things is really useful. And also they can obviously be reviewed weeks or months later after it was initially taught. And navigating online content such as video increases pupils' confidence and proficiency in digital literacy, which is obviously really important in the 21st century. And they also enable teachers to create a flipped classroom environment, which can be really useful in terms of targeting specific pupils in your class. There's a number of free options available to you. It really comes down to personal choice and what you decide to run with. I've picked out the most popular free options for you to consider. My personal favourite, because I'm a fan of MacBook, is the MacBook built-in screen recorder, which is available in QuickTime. And you can access that just through opening your QuickTime software up on a Mac, or by using the shortcut Command Shift 5. At the end of this session, we'll share this PowerPoint with you, and that video gives you a tutorial on how to do that if you're not familiar with that function. If you're on Windows 10, Windows 10 comes with a built-in screen recorder called Game Bar. Now, Game Bar was designed by Microsoft to record gameplay. However, you can tweak it so that it records other applications on your computer. You just have to change the settings. And that green link at the bottom, How To article, explains how to do that. Another option for Mac and Windows users is Google Chrome's Screencastify plugin. It's really, really easy to use. The free version of it has no watermark, and it allows you to embed your webcam anywhere, so you can have your sort of talking head at some part of the screen. And you can trim your video and export it in various formats. And it saves your videos directly to your Google Drive with options to upload it to YouTube or copy the embed code and put that video somewhere else, like inside of a Sway. The only downfall to it is that it restricts you to 5 minutes worth of recording at a time. So what you can do is record your lesson in segments and then piece them together with a bit of video editing software. Another piece of software available to you is Open Broadcaster software, otherwise known as OBS. This also works on all platforms. It works on Mac, Windows and Linux. It's completely free. It doesn't have any adverts or anything. It's open source. It's a little bit more complicated to use compared to Screencastify. However, it doesn't have that 5-minute recording limit that you do there. Based on a meeting I had with the Microsoft Innovator Education Experts last week, that seems to be the software of choice for Windows users. And then all of the options I've gone through so far obviously involve recording your screen, but you might wish to record yourself or even your hands going through a concept on a whiteboard. This is really simple to do. You can use your phone or your tablet and go through the photo app. Michaela's done this before and she recommends using an ARM device that you can see in the photograph there. And Michaela's now going to take you through how to pre-record lessons within PowerPoint.
There we go. Every time I seem to move over into PowerPoint, I don't know if it's cutting me off. Hold on. Can you still hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, yet again, third time lucky. So, sorry about that. Basically, what I was saying there when I was muted was that PowerPoint, if you're comfortable with it, can be a really good way to create video content, especially if you're not really comfortable with directly videoing yourself, or if you're thinking, you know, I've not got one of these stands, I've not really prepared for that kind of thing, I can do some content through PowerPoint. So first of all, the first thing I wanted to share with you was the designer tool. So basically, if you just open a blank PowerPoint, it'll just open something very, very basic like this. But in your home tab, and it's also in the design tab as well at the top here, there is the design ideas. Now, you might know absolutely everything that I show you today, but it might hopefully give you some more ideas for when you're creating your own video content. So basically, if you leave it like this, so click to add title and it's just blank, it'll generate kind of generic ideas, just different kinds of templates that you can then click and use. But if you then go to your title and say your topic is space, and you click down here, it'll then generate new ideas depending on what you've actually typed here. So for example, here's a space template, and you can then, so that's actually a moving one. So then if you were to go to slideshow and show that, it would actually move with the text still on the screen. And then the new slides that you would insert will be similarly designed to this kind of theme that's going on. Okay, so that was just one of the very quick tools. Now I'll go over to here. Now I'm not going to present this to you like a PowerPoint. I'm going to show you each feature for each thing in each slide as we go along. So I wrote talk about notes section. I'm not going to use notes today, but if you're maybe beginning or maybe just starting out with this kind of thing, sometimes it can be useful to either have bullet pointed notes, or some people prefer a script, and that's absolutely fine as well. So if that's maybe what you feel more comfortable with, if you're going to record audio over slides, then by all means you can type up a script, and if it will help you, which it certainly has with me in the past, then yeah, by all means you can pop them in here, and then when you actually go to present the PowerPoint and record it, the notes will be there for you as well. But again, I'll show you that as well. So if I go to my next slide, oh, and that's what I was going to mention as well, sorry. This whole template was just given by PowerPoint, so I'd basically typed in tips and tricks for recording lessons and clicked design ideas, and this was one of the templates, and with purple being a school colour and all that, I suppose I had to choose this one. So next, that's what I'm talking about with the designer tool. So two ways to do that. The first way would be to be in your home tab and then go to design ideas, which is this icon over here, or you can go to the design tab and then design ideas. So if I do that now, so design, and then again the design ideas option is over here. So come back to home, If I go on to the next one, you can change the font of all your slides without having to go through them individually, which I know if you've maybe downloaded a PowerPoint from a website or a resource online, and maybe the font's a bit all over the place if you've not got the font installed on your computer. If you go to the View tab, which is at the top here, and go to Slide Master, which is here, and then you can click Fonts, it'll automatically bring you into the master slides here, and you can change the whole fonts of the whole PowerPoint by just clicking Fonts here. Now, it won't give you all the different options that you've got installed. It'll give you kind of popular ones and ones that are used most often. So we can do that just now. So if we click that and then go to Close Master, that should then, once it closes, it would change all the fonts to Calibri Light. Okay, so another example of that, if you wanted to go to the View tab and it was a font that you've got installed on your computer, but actually it's not shown in that list, you can go back to View and then to Slide Master again. And then, for example, the master slide will be here, and you can then go in manually. So I'm going to select all this text. I'm going to go to Home, and just for example, I'm going to change it to this primary font. I'm going to select all the text here as well, and I'm going to type in that font again. And then once I click here, if I go back to Slide Master, which moves strangely over to just before the Home tab on the left-hand side, and then you go to Close Master, this should then change all of your fonts. Now, I would need to go through the different slides in the Slide Master to choose all of the to change the fonts of all of the content there, but it does show you that this is a quicker way rather than going through every single slide and highlighting all the text and everything else. I'll just undo that just now, and I'll go back to slide 4. Sorry, my MacBook's getting old. I absolutely love Apple and Mac devices, but yeah, mine is nearly 5 years old now and it's starting to show its age, I'm afraid. So yeah, so that was the fonts in the Slide Master. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the rule of 6. So especially for younger learners, I know there'll be a variety of colleagues on here who will be teaching both primary and secondary. However, what's usually recommended is the rule of 6 if you're doing PowerPoint slides, because sometimes if there's too much text on the screen, especially if you are converting it into a video and it's not something that can maybe be read to them, would be no more than 6 words on 6 bullet points, so per slide, and sometimes less is more. So yeah, we'll go on to the next one. So duplicating slides, I'll show you the benefit of that later on, but basically if you have a slide and you want to have another slide after that, which is very similar, but you're maybe only changing a couple of things or a couple of words, if you right click and go to duplicate slide, it'll just copy everything on the slide the exact way that it appears beforehand. So I find this particularly useful in phonics and spelling lessons if I'm using a PowerPoint to show, because any effects or anything I've got will be copied onto each word, and then I just go in and change the letters, and it's really, really quick. So I'll delete this slide just now. And again, I've changed all the templates on each slide again with that design idea. So the best thing I would probably recommend doing is if you type whatever it is you want to have on your slide, have your content there, and then select your design ideas at the end, and then it will give you different options depending on what you've got. So if you've got maybe more text, it will maybe give you a different style of template depending on what you have in your slide. So if we go down to adding images, there's a couple of different ways to add images, and one of the things we will say is it's really important to make sure that you're saving or copying images from royalty-free or copyright-free sources. There is Pixabay and Unsplash, and another way that you can do this is through the Google image search, which I'll show you shortly as well. So when you've searched for an image on Google, if you go to Tools and then Usage Rights, again I'll show you that shortly, there's an option to select Creative Commons licenses, which basically means that these are royalty free and you can search for them. But just be aware, if you are using this search, every time you search for something else, you need to go back into Tools and to Usage Rights and then to Creative Commons licenses. It doesn't just automatically keep that option on every time you search for a different picture. So just to be aware of that. The second thing you can do in PowerPoint, which is particularly useful, is the Insert tab, because there's already stock images which are copyright free that are embedded into PowerPoint that you can use. There's pictures, there's also an online pictures option, and you can search for icons as well. So for example, if I go to the Insert tab at the top, go to Pictures, which is here, here's your different options. So Photo Browser would be from your own files, and again, Picture from File is a bit more specific. Then you've got Stock Images, which I'll click just now, and then Online Pictures. So I'll show you both of these. Stock Images, again, we MacBook's getting old, but here it is. So again, if I was doing something like space, I would just type in space and search. Slowly but surely, this is giving me literal space, but here's something that's a bit more what I was thinking about. And then you can literally just insert it, and oh wow, it is really getting slow today. Yeah, so you get the idea. You can add stock images. The other thing that's quite nice is icons. So rather than having a picture, having an icon instead. So for example, these are icons that I've already been using on some of the slides. So the number 6 was actually an icon, so was the number 2. So I'm thinking of type in something. Friends, you're wanting a picture of little children. So you can insert icons. And the nice thing about these is they can actually be changed, size, colour, outline, and it's basically treated like an image, but you can adapt it in whatever way you please. Again, these are design ideas. This might not necessarily make the content of your teaching any different, but again, you want it to be engaging and visually appealing for your learners, so these hopefully might help in some way. Again, if you do insert and picture and then go to online pictures, you'll notice here that the Creative Commons, there's a tick box. So if I actually search something like astronaut, Creative Commons only is already ticked for you, which is very useful, and it means that you are free to use any of the images that are here and insert them into your slides, and you don't need to worry about copyright and things like that. Yeah, again, oh, that was a bit quicker. There we go. It might just be, please zoom out. There we go. So you can use the pictures that are provided for free in there as well. And then often at the bottom, I'm not sure if you can see it just under here, it will usually give a credit. So it does say it's by an unknown author. It will usually give a credit of where the picture has come from as well, which is useful. So the next tip would be removing backgrounds. There's nothing worse than you get a picture and you go, oh, there's a white background. Now, there's two ways that I would normally do this. The first method, you would select the picture. So if you come onto your slide, make sure you've actually clicked the picture and the little grab handles pop up. Then you would go to the format picture, and there is two options here. So you can remove background. I'll show you with this image, it doesn't always work the best. So it might go, oh, there's the whole background. I've removed all the background and it's only left the doors, but that's absolutely not what I was looking for at all. So I would just discard all changes. And the other way I would do this is I would go to colour and then go down to set transparent colour, select that, and then click white, and it takes it all away, just like that. So it's really quick and easy, rather than sitting highlighting around it all with the remove background tool. You can just make the colour transparent. Another one is the eyedropper tool, so matching text to images and slides. So anything that you've got, or maybe you want the text to be the same colour as, for example, the kind of purple theme I've got going on here. So again, you can highlight the text. It can be the whole box, so you can click the box if you want everything in the text box to be changed, or you can just highlight the example text, like so just highlight maybe one sentence you want to colour code different things, and you would go here. And if the colour's not there, or you're not really sure, oh no, that's not the same purple, I don't want that one, you can go to more colours and then go to your eyedropper tool, which is here, and it will let you drag your mouse to anywhere on the screen and it will let you select a colour. So select that same purple and press OK, and there it's only changed that one sentence to be the same colour. If you are colour coding for any lessons, I always think of literacy, I always think of phonics and magnetic boards and all this kind of thing when I do these sorts of things. And again, if you want to change it again, just go back in, select the colour and press OK. And I know this is really quick and it's a very much a whistle-stop tour, but thankfully this will be recorded and posted, so you can maybe refer back to it if you need to. The next one I've got, so there's different ways you can have effects on text and images, again, just to make your slides look more appealing to your learners. So we'll start by, we've got rotate images, add shadow, glow and other effects, flip images in different directions, align them and animate them. So first one is rotate. Again, you probably will know this, but you select your image and you can literally rotate it anywhere you want, wherever it suits you, and then just stop when you're ready, and the degree of angle that you've rotated it will appear at the side. And most of the time what I quite like is it will snap into place, so that's snapped into exactly 270 degrees, so I like PowerPoint in that respect. The next one I've got is adding effects to images. So for example, if we select the image first, then go to your picture format tab. Now that picture format tab won't always be there. It will only be there when you actually select an image on your PowerPoint, but when that does pop up, you click the picture format tab, and there's loads of different effects you can do here. So the first one I'm going to show you is picture effects. So things like you can add a shadow, or you can add a glow, so a glow of purple, of course, and then maybe you're showing something you want it to look like it's been reflected in water for whatever reason. Okay, so there's lots of different effects in there. So just undo them quickly and undo the shadow. There's also quick styles, which is quite nice actually. There's a couple of different ones. One of them makes it look as if it's been put in a photograph. You know, so if you're inserting a picture of, I don't know, different icons in capital cities or something like that, you can maybe look as if you've got lots of different photographs on the screen, and they can appear if you add animations and different things. And last, again, I'll go to this image and show you an outline. Now, again, this might just be personal preference. You can do an outline, and remember, if it's a boxed image, so see if it's something like this where you can see there's an outline, but we've obviously put the transparent colour there, the outline will be where the grab handles are, so the box. Again, so if I make this weight a little bit thicker so you can see, yeah, it ends up outlining the box, so I don't always tend to go for that. Right, and we'll go to the next one, but you can also add these kinds of effects to text, just like the good old word art back in the day in Microsoft Word. We used to do word art all the time for titles at the top of things. So you can select the text, or again, you can select the whole box, and you go to your shape format this time. And instead of going over here, you're going to go over here, and we're going to actually tackle the text rather than the box, because if you were to go over here and put a shadow or a glow on, it will do it around the text box rather than the actual text, if that makes sense. So again, if we come over here and we'll go to shadow, it's given the text some shadow. There's loads of, again, different effects you can add in here, make it look a bit 3D, have it rotating, have it transformed. Again, you can fill the text as well. So again, I always think of colour coding, but you can fill the text and you can then outline it as well. Now, I've got no outline at the moment. That might be beneficial. Again, for some learners, colour can be really, really important. I don't tend to use black text normally to try and reduce a little bit of visual stress. Usually I go for kind of dark blues or dark purples with a kind of more pale yellow background. That seems to be my go-to. But again, you can't really see this that well, but if I make this text bigger, just until it suits me, you can see that it's got a black outline there. So again, trying to always think of the end user and think of, is that going to be too overbearing on my learners? Maybe should I go with a more neutral colour? Just always thinking about the end user again. So flipping into aligning images, again, if you select the image, you always have to select the image first because the computer doesn't know what one it is you're wanting to change. Go to your picture format and you can do you can rotate objects, which is this little icon here. So if you click that, you can flip it horizontally, you can flip it vertically, and again, you can rotate it, but you can do that with your rotate tool, which is here anyway. And then align images. Now, this was only something I recently discovered, which I thought, oh, the amount of time I have wasted trying to get things to sit in a straight line. So if you hold your shift key and you select multiple images or icons on your screen, if you then go to, these are icons, so it's coming up as graphics format, but if it's pictures, it might come up as shape format. So if you select multiple ones that are on your screen and then go to this align button here, go to align objects, and then you can align to the top or to the middle or the bottom. And I always like things in a straight line, so align to middle and they all go into a straight line. But all the little gaps in between are uneven, which really bugs me as well, and I want it to look nice and flush. So what I would do then is I go back into that align button and I would distribute horizontally. Oh, look at that. It just gets them all sitting just right, and I can just pop them there. And yeah, the amount of times I have wasted trying to get things snapping into the right order. Now, the next one, I'm going to actually go into slideshow mode to show you first. And then, there we are. So if I move on to my next slide. So again, I just wanted to give an example of animations because I think it's better for you to see it and it might give you some sort of ideas. So again, for spelling, this week my class were learning the ng sound, so N and G together. And for something like spelling, animations can be really useful. So this is the pulse animation, and it goes, so I would say, what does that spell when it's blended all together? Okay, I'm going to give you a picture clue. And I've got a 3D model here of a diamond ring, which again was taken from PowerPoint, and again I'll show you how to do that as well. And I go, right, okay, I want to blend these sounds together. Let's try and read this word together. Okay, ready? And then we would blend the sounds together. Ring. And then, you know, you get the idea. Ring. Okay, so the pulse, it just, while you're talking, it kind of holds that engagement. They can see exactly what letter you're talking about. And again, you've got that image, that picture clue there for them as well. So if I go back, oh, that's the wrong slide, there we go. If I go back in here, this is actually a 3D model, which you can insert via PowerPoint as well. So if I've clicked it here, we've got 3D model, they've got so many different ones. Again, if you wanted to add another one, I'll leave that there, you would go to insert. And over here, it's just the 3D models button. And there's lots of different ideas. Dinosaurs, there's all sorts. Animated animals, clothing, furniture, all sorts, toys, avatars, computers, space. God, I love space. Yeah, so there's loads and loads of different ideas. It might be something worth exploring, especially if to do with engagement and different topics and things that you might be teaching. So again, for animations, basically what I've done here is I've duplicated this slide and I have selected each letter. So if I go to the animations tab at the top, click that, and I've got this one goes first, this one goes second, this one goes third, fourth and fifth, and it tells you the numbers. And if you click one of the numbers, the animation pane at the side will pop up and you can reorder these things. So I could have the diamond ring popping up first, etc. But again, if it's something that's going to be beneficial to you, I'm happy to talk to anyone about it, or you can look into it by just exploring yourself. I think that's probably the best way. And again, with another example, basically to save myself time going through every spelling word, I've just duplicated these slides, changed the letters and changed the image. So yeah, you can see it can, once you get the hang of it, it can be really, really time saving. And again, this is a 3D model that says bang. So yeah, here we are. Going through the motion again, you can do the exact same thing and get it to do all sorts of different things. Now this slide, oh, it keeps going back to that one. This slide is intentionally blank, intentionally empty, because if you open a new slide, and there are already options here, but there's so much you can do with PowerPoint that sometimes we either forget about it or we don't know it's there. So you can insert table right directly into this text box. You can insert graphs, lots of different types of graphs. I'm thinking more for secondary colleagues there as well. I've got just lots and lots of different options. Again, this is the 3D model. So it'll then go back to the menu and you can search for a 3D model at the side there. pictures, online pictures, video. You can embed video into PowerPoint slides, but I would just be aware of the size of the content that you're inserting. So if you're inserting like a really, really long video, it can then take an awful long time to save the PowerPoint as a video as well, which can be very time consuming. And the last thing we want to do is waste time as a teacher. And again, some icons, you can insert them there as well. I'm nearly finished. I'm really sorry. I feel like I'm rattling through this. Transitions between slides, we've already seen that because that was what was happening here, and that's how I've basically made these two slides look as if these letters are blending together, because I've got the morph transition. So if I go to transitions at the top, sorry, I've got fade, there we go, morph. So that's what makes it look as if the letters are actually blended together. I've not added a fancy effect or anything, I've literally just put in a different type of transition. And there are loads of different ones. You can add sound, but again, sometimes I feel that's a wee bit distracting. So if you're adding like an applause or something like that, it can be quite distracting, but there's lots and lots and lots of different options in there as well. Now, adding audio, I've got a couple of methods here. First one that some people do prefer, which is absolutely fine, is going to the Insert tab at the top, and then at the right-hand side, going to Audio, and then just recording audio. So I'll do it, for example, just now. Recording some audio to insert into a slide. And then if you're happy with it, press Insert. If you're not happy, you can re-record here and then have another go, which I find is really simple and easy. Once you're happy, you press Insert and it pops on a little tab like this. Now, if you don't move the tab over to the side outside your slide, you will see the speaker when you export it to a video. But if you move it over here, then they won't actually see the little speaker button. One thing I will say is if you're saving a PowerPoint as a video after you've inserted the audio this way, all your animations will play first. So for example, I couldn't really talk through and get those animations going at the same time. I would have to basically talk through it and then the audio would play afterwards. However, if you go to the slideshow tab and record slideshow and do it that way, then that's when you can go through the slides. So for example, if I go to this one, I'll go to slideshow, record slideshow. So this is now recording as a slideshow. I am going to press the next arrow, which is pulsing the letter R, pulsing the letter I, N and G. So I can actually talk through it and get these things to happen as I'm saying them. Whereas when you insert audio, it doesn't always necessarily happen that way. So I would then, this is where your notes would come up if you were presenting or recording this way. And whatever you have in here, it can, help prompt you by looking back at your notes. If you do make a mistake, this is where it's very frustrating. You can start again, but that was 33 seconds long. So just be aware that you've spoken for 33 seconds and it's saved it onto that slide. If you then talk for a couple of seconds, so if I go again and I speak for a few seconds and decide, you know what, I'm just going to say a couple of things and move on to the next slide, then it's saved 5 seconds of you talking there, but it's got the previous 33 seconds underneath it. So you would really need to make sure that you have cleared the narration. Sorry, I'm coming back. There we go.
Michaela, sorry, you got a question came up there. It says, do they see the notes when looking at the PowerPoint?
Yes, so you can see notes if you are recording a slideshow, yes. So basically, if I go to this slide that I'm on just now, I've got a quick note here. Sorry, I didn't even see the comment pop up because I'm sharing my screen. So there's my notes there.
But the pupil won't see that though?
No, the pupil won't see that, no. So the pupil, if you export it as an MP4 or a .mov file, then you won't see the notes, no. So I'll just come out there. I don't know why it keeps coming back to the other presentation. Anyway, so I'll come down here again. So yeah, so you can do it this way. Now, there's the little downward arrow here. Now, you can clear all timings on slides and all narrations on slides. Timings is you've went on and you've spoke for a certain amount of time, and you can clear that off and you can start again. You can do it on the current slide or on all of your slides if you just think, you know what, I'm starting again, scrap it, I'm going to try again. And you can clear narration, so that's your voice. So if you have made a mistake, make sure you're clearing the narration. So if you're maybe just starting out with this, I would probably do the insert audio, but again, your animations and things would come up first. Okay. So when you're in your Google image search, you can again find copyright-free images that you can use in your lessons. So if we go to school clip art, for example, and go to your images, or you can click Google image search first. It's, again, just whatever your preference is. This is what I was talking about with the tools part. So if you then do your Google image search and then go to tools, it'll then give you the option of, pops down here, which can be quite deceiving, is usage rights. And if you go to Creative Commons licenses, it will then show you clip art images that you can use. But again, sometimes I think it's easier just using the ones that are already in PowerPoint there for you beforehand. But sorry for going on so long, but I'll pass back over to Lisa and she's going to give you some content tips. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, that's just all the things that
There we go. So,
there we are.
Content tips. So in some ways, online video lessons are the same as class teaching. And to motivate your pupils, it's important that you set the scene in a real world context. What's the point in the lesson? Set a clear objective at the start. And as always, it's important that pupils value their lesson. So this is just some screenshots that I've taken from recorded PowerPoints that I've done. This computer science one is talking about real life context for code. And then I always have my learning intention slides come up as well at the start. To promote accessibility, it's really important that when you export your videos and put them wherever you're putting them, that you've got a clear and detailed title and description. If you are putting your videos onto YouTube, you can activate closed captions, which is what you can see here in this grey text. So YouTube has automatically generated that from me, from my audio. It's not always 100% accurate, so you might want to go back and check before you put it out there to pupils. And this green link at the bottom of the slide is just instructions on how you can do that. Michaela, can you see that PowerPoint slide? Or just someone saying they can't see it in the chat?
Yeah, you're on content tips.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it moving. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Next one is an equation tool. So if you're a high school maths teacher or you're a primary school teacher doing a maths lesson, you can get some help writing mathematical formula. This is only available on the full version of PowerPoint, not the app. So that's just a screenshot there of how to get into there. Another tip for your video content is to include questions throughout. Questions throughout, this is one from a lesson that I do on internet safety with emails. It just increases engagement with the content for your pupils. And it's helpful at these points in your video to ask the pupils to pause and just to give them a little bit of time to think and gather their thoughts and ideas. Another idea is to add annotations and animation to draw attention to important points. So again, from that email lesson that I do, as I explain what a local part of your email domain is, and then the domain section, these come in animated. And that's really good for drawing attention to important points. Now, research has shown that if you include photographs or content in your video that's not directly linked to what you're talking about, it causes confusion because pupils unconsciously try to marry up between what's on the screen and what you're talking about. And if it doesn't completely marry up, you will confuse them. So just be really careful about what you're putting in there. Now this one's really important. This is the key difference between a video lesson compared to a class lesson, and that is timing. It's really important that you try to keep your videos short. If necessary, you might want to create a series of videos just to reduce cognitive overload. The key thing to understand is that we can approach remote learning in exactly the same way we approach our day-to-day face-to-face classes in school. We need to simplify. You need to think about simplifying the content, simplifying the processes, and simplifying your expectations. The really sort of crucial question to ask yourself is, if I only had 10 minutes with my pupils in class, what's the most critical information for me to give them? What do I want them to take away from this? And the answers to those questions should form the basis of the content for your video. Now, best practice in a class face-to-face situation is that you give 1 minute per year of age. Therefore, if you're stood in front of an 8-year-old child, you can expect them to focus for around 8 minutes of uninterrupted instruction. However, when you take that to a remote learning environment, that would be better delivered in 2 4-minute video lessons. Try to keep your text on screen to a minimal, like imagery and narration are much more important, more powerful. And with any of your video lessons, aim to not go over that 10-minute mark. And finally, for content, regularly ask your pupils for honest feedback. They are your best critics, they really are. You can do it anonymously through Microsoft Forums. Like at Lindsay Meadow, we send out this forum every week, and we've found it really helpful, and we have responded and adapted from what we've been told. For example, pupils wanted to know in advance what lessons were happening each day. So on Friday afternoons, we send out a schedule for the following week, which explains what's happening each day. Now, Michaela is going to talk to you about video editing.
So I'm going to go over now. Again, we're not implying that you have to edit videos, not in any way, shape or form. But Lisa and I were talking even just before this training, and we were saying that actually, see, when I take something in one take, I do not always get it right first time, and actually editing a video would probably take me less time than re-recording the whole thing without making a mistake. Which I don't know what that says about me as a teacher. But for example, again, back to phonics again. So I've got hello, this is what our sound is. It's made up of these 2 letters. And then you can see clearly here I've got a transition, because I've stopped talking about what I was doing and I made a mistake and I just went to the next clip. So then I've got different clips, showing the action, all the rest of it, showing again what's our sound for this week. And again, I've got a transition. So to add a transition, I'm just talking very quickly about iMovie first, and then I'll go back to some Windows options as well. But you do find that between the software, iMovie is explicit to Apple devices. It can be used on an iPhone. It can be used on an iPad as well. I know quite a lot of people who use it on the iPad and find it really easy. I like to use it on my MacBook because I'm more of a laptop person. I think it is just, again, down to personal preference. But you go up to, if you want to cut clips and put them in between, I'll show you briefly how to create something from scratch, but I'm just trying to show you what each thing is and what it's for before I show you how to do that, if that makes sense. So these are transitions. So that's cut video clips where you can see that I've added text and things at the side. Excuse my faces. But then again, when you come over here, this is my main teaching. So this is where I would use, I don't know if you can still see me on the screen, this arm, and I basically just screw it to the end of the table, and I have my phone hanging over, basically just videoing my hands and what I'm doing, what I'm writing, and talking about the different sounds and everything else. And again, inserting images just that pop over the top, just for that extra effect, because to be honest, my primary ones, they might not be able to read the word ring yet, so giving them that picture clue, they then associate that word with the picture, and it can just be much more engaging. Now, I've broke a rule because it says this video is 8 minutes and 30 seconds, but there's spelling added on to the end of this as well. Again, so the word sing, I've got some people singing, just again, some singing clip art added in. If you're going to come to the Beyond the Basics training, we can maybe talk more about adding clip art in to videos. It's just because a lot of the time when you do save an image, it sometimes comes up with the white background, but we can go into more detail about how to remove things. And just in case you're wondering why there's a pair of pants that's an elephant in orange underpants, to remember vowels, it's not just randomly put in there. So again, the sausage dog is long, this kind of idea. So constantly just having different things popping up, just trying to make sure that the learners are still engaged. And again, if I go back, I just find that so much easier than having one big long clip. And I know that works for some people and that is brilliant, but we're not saying, yeah, you have to go and get used to using iMovie. That's not the case at all. But just if this gives you an idea or helps in any way, shape or form, then brilliant. Another example I'll show you very quickly was making pancakes. So again, for teachers, like I've only started videoing myself in the last week or so the kids can actually still see me, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen for remote learning for primary 1 to 3. But for people who don't like being recorded, you can use things like Memoji or Bitmoji apps and things like that. I just record this on my phone, so I basically speak and say what I want to say, upload it onto my computer and basically add it in. And this is just a series of pictures I was showing primary 1. They were to sequence the order of how I made pancakes. So basically I took a couple of pictures while I was making some and showed them step by step what I was doing, and then I asked them comprehension questions about it. So again, it's just these little things that rather than me just having my voice, I quite like just adding it in as if I was repeating key teaching points. Key things I wanted them to remember are the things where my face kind of pops up and says, oh, and remember this, and I'm just repeating again. And I've got text as well, so even though I'm narrating the video as I go along, I've also got text that pops up as well. So flip when the bubbles start to appear, and pop when we're talking about the word pop and different things. Yeah, so again, if I go back, I'll show you some different things that you can use. And it's not just iMovie, there are other ones, although iMovie does have a lot of different things. No one said this CPD would make you hungry. I'm very sorry. It is Pancake Tuesday. So in iMovie, when you start afresh, you have virtually got nothing here. It looks a little bit overwhelming and it's just a big black screen. You can import your media. So if you've maybe taken something on your phone, perhaps a video or a picture that you want to add into it, the other thing you can also do is actually make images on PowerPoint and then import them in. But that's a whole new video for another day. But you can add images and video clips into iMovie. So for example, if I just pop this one up here, basically I can drag it down, and this is like your timeline. So this is where you would do all your editing down here. It says it's 2.6 minutes long, which obviously I'm not going to be talking for that amount of time. And as you can see, sometimes as well on a phone, you upload something. I've taken this with my phone landscape, but actually when you pop it into iMovie, it comes up as portrait. So if you click this tool here, you can rotate it. So it then takes up your full screen. And actually, I don't really want them to see the stand where my mobile phone was before. So I'm going to just crop to fill, and I'm just going to pull this over, if I can catch it. There we go. I'm just going to pull that over, and this is all I want them to see. So once I click that, it basically trims off the edge of your video, and you can focus more really on what you're talking about. So that's inserting your video. Then if, say for saying sake, I'm pointing to different numbers in 100 square, and that can be quite overwhelming for the eyes, especially of young learners. So if I'm thinking about, I'm going to go to the first bit and I'm going to talk about what's the first number I talk about on that 100 square. I'm pointing to the number, pointing to different numbers. They're all really in the top line. Right, I've put the icon there. I'm going to split the clip in half. I'm going to zoom in. So where do I want to zoom out? I'll go back and I'll say cut it over here, but this is where I want to zoom in. So I'll just go back over here. Oh, you can get the stands from Amazon. Yes, I think that's actually where I got mine from. I'll see if I can link it if anybody have to go and buy these stands. It's just, I find it so much easier to use the stand rather than trying to balance my phone on a cereal box and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so again, I've just cropped because I think I want them to see really this top section of the 100 square. Now, you can usually manipulate this. It's not working at the moment though, typical. And it can zoom right in. So basically what you've got is, I'm talking here, about what's happening. Going to start with number 4. I've zoomed in so you can see a bit clearer. And you can have it just cutting from clip to clip, or you can put what I was talking about, these transitions in between. So again, if you tend to go, oh no, I get that wrong, right, okay, I'll start again. You can keep the same video clip and you can just cut it and trim it as you go along. And then if you pop a wee transition in, it just looks that little bit smoother, as if, yeah, I've intended to zoom in here. So it just fades in nicely. And you can add these at the very beginning of your videos. You can add them at the very end of your videos, just for a nice little closing. I always do an open circle and close circle, I don't know why. But yeah, so we can do that. The other things you can do, you can add audio. And if I just unplug, so you can add audio clips in the background. Again, just if it's something where you're maybe showing them how to do something particularly, I'm thinking of like art videos and things like that, you maybe want to add audio, maybe if you're going through different steps of drawing and you're not actually speaking at that point in time. And again, so you can then stretch audio. So these are ones that, again, are copyright free, that are all installed in iMovie. So you're free to use these within iMovie as you wish. And you can get, usually if you go into audio, and then you can go to, there's different ones. I always usually go to jingles because they seem quite upbeat and quite good for videos. And then I've chosen Windy City Long, which actually is, don't know how many of you will know Geraldine Dura. But yeah, there's loads of different ones in there. And again, it's just exploring what suits you. And again, you can actually, that's quite loud and you think, well, you're going to hear the audio over me speaking. You would just click the videos that you want to be louder than the audio, and you can go in and change that as well. But I do feel like I'm rabbiting on a wee bit, so I'm going to pass back over to Lisa.
Thank you. There was another question, just as I'm sharing my screen, and thanks, there's another question here asking about Bitmoji. Is that only available on Apple iPhones?
Bitmoji, I don't think so, because you can actually get a Chrome. Sorry, I'm just allowing you to access that. You can get a Chrome extension that you can download for Bitmoji. And that should be available on, oh sorry, I'm just going to stop sharing this screen. There we go. Yeah, so you're able to download, there's a Bitmoji Chrome extension where basically you don't actually have to have it on your phone. You can go and it just comes up next to your search bar. You click the Bitmoji button and it will, you can type in whatever it is you want. I'll show you on this after Lisa's finished. I'm really sorry we're going over for time. I really feel as if I've been trying to say this all as quick as I possibly can and show you things. But yeah, this is Android 2, Mrs. Davidson. Yes, you can get Bitmoji in Android 2. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so Lisa's going to talk about sharing videos.
Yep, sharing videos. So once your video is recorded and edited, you're ready to share it with your pupils. At the moment, you might be using the Glow video app, just to make you aware that that's actually being retired from the 31st of March, and it's going to be replaced by Microsoft Stream. Any content that you've got on the Glow video app will be migrated over to Microsoft Stream. And it's secure, it's free of adverts and sponsored content, it's encrypted, and there is an option within Stream for accessibility, which allows you to do the closed caption over your audio, which is great. So look out for that coming soon. At the moment, once you've got your video made, you can obviously upload it to your school's YouTube account. However, you don't have to direct your pupils to YouTube. Sometimes it's a good idea not to direct them there because there's plenty of distractions there, as well as some inappropriate content in some channels as well. So what you might want to do is over in this first slide, the left-hand side of this slide, you'll see that the video file has just been attached to an assignment in Teams. So that's an option for sharing. But however, what you might want to think about is like creating a user pathway through learning, which can really help with pupil engagement. So you can follow on from your video with a collaborative activity or a quiz, or you can have differentiated options with mild, spicy and hot activities, just to promote ownership. You can build in some peer teacher assessments. You can get creative. You can have pupils doing all sorts of things. On the right hand side there, that's a video that I've embedded into Class Notebook, which is really easy to do. You just take the share link, paste it into Class Notebook and press enter. And that can be really useful for having everything in one place. So you can have your video and then you can have some questions or some sort of activity underneath there. If you've not yet made the leap over to Class Notebook, you can do this exact same thing now in Word. So if you use the Word Online app, again, you just take your video link, paste it into Word, press enter, and the video comes up embedded. So that can be really useful for having a video, then some questions or some sort of activity there. There's also a couple of other options that I just wanted to show you. So let me just share my desktop. Hopefully this works.
Yay!
Okay, perfect. So this is a digital classroom created within ThingLink, and this is primary 1, Miss Wallace's class at Lindsay Meadow. Now, if you click here on this star, you can see Miss Wallace talks about the focus for the week, and then the children just explore around the various tags, and that's taken them to like an interactive story there about Mr. Wolf's pancakes. Over here, next to the art pencils, it's taking them to an art lesson. So it's just to make you aware that ThingLink's a really great option as well for just having everything together in one place. It's an easy way for pupils to access content. This one here is a sway that I created for a primary 1 computer science lesson. So they've got a learning intention. We've then got a video of me prattling on about what an algorithm is and what computers are. We've then got a link to a CBeebies video where Nina and the neurons sing about what a computer is and different types of computers. And then further down, we've just got this little activity where you click on an object. You have to think, is it a computer or is it not? So a teddy bear? No, it's not. A laptop? Yes, it is. So they just a little activity for pupils to do, and then it comes down into a Microsoft form. And they've got like some questions to answer. So there's pictures, different objects, and the pupils have to identify, yes, it's a computer, no, it isn't. So applications like this are really good just for keeping all the learning together in one place. The last thing I wanted to make you aware of was YouTube. In Lindsay Meadow, we had one YouTube account that someone created many years ago. However, all of the teachers were accessing it, and Google realised something wasn't quite right and assumed that we were being hacked and kept locking the account. So I went in and migrated the account from being a single user account to what's known as a branded account. So if your school's got a YouTube channel, you might want to look at doing this. And what a branded account does is it allows multiple users to access the account with their Gmail addresses. And I've created this sway, which just explains the setup process of how teachers access the content and how they can upload videos to your school's channels, just a step-by-step screenshots of how to do that. And it also talks about the different sharing options. When you upload to YouTube, you can make your video private, unlisted, or public. And it just takes you through the various things on that. So if anyone wants a copy of this, let me know, and I can send you the link to that sway. And let me just come out here. Oops. The last thing to go on to now is coming back to our self-evaluations. So after that rather fast whistle-stop tour, where do you feel you're at with creating a video? 0 being I'm still absolutely clueless and don't know what to do, and 5 being you're feeling quite confident. Hopefully it's a higher level than you were. Yay, we've got some 4s. Fabulous. And just before we go, I will put up the MEC links so that you can get credit within the Microsoft Education community for attending this session. If anyone's got any questions, you can type them in the chat section.
Lisa, I'm just aware that I actually didn't mention the Windows version of when I was talking about video editing.
Oh,
so
yes.
I was just going to very quickly mention that Windows 10 also has video editor built in, and Lisa, in the slides, has actually put together, I don't know if you'd put it together yourself, Lisa, or if you'd sourced it from somewhere, but there's a how-to guide in those slides. And it's a very similar layout to what I was showing you on iMovie. And you can you create a storyboard, so you just add different images and different clips and things. And it's very, very similar. In regards to the audio content, I'm not 100% sure about what audio is included in that, if there is any audio at all, but it is definitely a good tool for putting together videos in Windows 10. So if you've got a Windows laptop, that might help. And then again, pre-Windows 10, if you've maybe got a laptop that's older than Windows 10, you can access Windows Movie Maker, which actually we were talking about the other day. Used to love Movie Maker, and that is also really, really easy to use. But yeah, there's lots of different things on the internet. But again, if you're able to come to the Beyond the Basics, we'll maybe cover a wee things in a little bit more depth in how to use these tools in different ways. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming.
And we've got
back to Lisa again.
There's a question came up saying, is there a way to record a PowerPoint on a Mac with your little video in the corner?
Yes, and there are ways to do it. Again, you would need to make sure you've got the full version of PowerPoint. So I know someone had asked about the web version. You can't record on the web version in the slideshow option that I showed. So you would need to make sure, and again, Lisa's put on a really, really handy guide on how to download the whole of Office 365. It's all there for you. So you can download the full version of PowerPoint there. Again, there are ways to do it.
I think Screencastify is the easiest way to do it, the Chrome plugin. So. That's super simple.
So yeah. And then other people were saying you could use Zoom and record yourself presenting on Zoom and using it that way and popping it in the corner. The other way you could do it is you can actually pop yourself, if you've got video clips of yourself, you can pop them in the corner on iMovie as well. But again, it would be a lot of faffing about doing it that way.
Yeah, the Screencastify is easy, or the OBS software that I showed at the start, that lets you do it. Screencastify is the 5-minute limit to that, but the OBS one is unlimited, and it lets you move your webcam to any position on the screen. So it's a little bit trickier than Screencastify though.
All the pros and cons of video editing. Right.
I will put a link up to the Sway for people, because that YouTube issue is really annoying. You really need to make your account branded if you've got multiple staff using it.
Yeah, so you can upload.
Otherwise, Google just assumes you're being hacked, and you end up getting all these security codes being emailed.
Oh dear.
Let me just get the codes for the MEC. I'll put those up.
Just
Oops.
Been used far too much.
I copy pasted a little bit big there, but no one will miss it.
But yeah, there we go. I think that's us. But thank you so much for coming, everybody. I really appreciate it, especially when it's already been a long day as it is with everything going on at the moment. We
broke a rule and we threw a lot of content at people.
I know, I'm sorry. Oh,
it's better to know all the options though.
I know, that's it. And hopefully this will be useful and you can refer back to it if you need to. Fingers crossed.